So, hello and good morning, everyone. My name is Poonam, and I'm delighted to be with you today to share my perspectives on medication errors. So, to start, I'll quickly share a bit about my background. So, I have over 10 years of experience working in pharmacovigilance department. I have worked with renowned companies like Tata Consultancy Services and GlaxoSmithKline. My work has primarily focused on areas such as case processing, aggregate report writing, signal detection, and risk management. Alongside my industry experience, I have also worked as subject matter expert and trainer, and I'm also an ISO certified auditor. Currently, I'm working as pharmacovigilance consultant. So in today's session, I intend to discuss regarding the detection, impact, and risk mitigation measures taken to prevent medication errors. And all these are part of pharmacovigilance activity. So it was by 1990s when pharmacovigilance became more formalized, with great focus on drug safety monitoring through global collaboration. Since while adverse event reporting has always been a part of pharmacovigilance, but formal inclusion of medication error tracking became more systematic from early 2000s. And it became possible because of the influence of healthcare authorities such as EMA, FDA, and also global organizations such as WHO. There are several famous examples from the past that illustrate how the critical importance of preventing medication errors. One of the few high profile cases was related to heparin overdose in infants. This is also known as Baxter incident that took place in year 2007. In this year, a group of patients at the hospital were administered with high dose of heparin, which is a blood thinner, by mistake. The nurses accidentally, they took the vial. They chose a vial which had 1,000 times more or higher strength than what was required of heparin to give to the patients or infants. As a result, some of the infants died, and some of the infants
Excuse
had
me,
to,
doctor.
yes,
Sorry for the inconvenience. Can you
yeah, no
move your
problem.
slides, please?
Oh, it's not moving.
Yeah, now it's moving.
Okay, okay. Sorry. So by accident, the nurses administered a higher dose of heparin to the infants, and this happened because the vials looked very similar, and the labeling was also very confusing. As a result, some of the patients or some of the infants lost their life, and others had to face serious health issues throughout their life. Now, apart from this, even the Baxter, which was the manufacturer of this medicine, also had to face massive criticism and legal action. Finally, they had to redesign the entire packaging for both the doses, and they had to make a more clear labeling so that it can be differentiated. Now, this tragic case led to several changes in the way nowadays high risk drugs like heparin are packaged and labeled. Now these incidences, reinforces such kind of incidences reinforces the need to create or have a robust pharmacovigilance or monitoring activities to prevent and monitor these kind of medication errors. I'm sorry. Now, what is medication error? As per the definition, a medication error is an unintended failure in the drug treatment process that leads to or has the potential to lead to harm to the patient. The most important thing here to understand is it is an unintentional failure in the drug treatment process. So drug treatment process includes steps like manufacturing, prescribing, dispensing, administering, monitoring, and follow-up. Now, any unintentional failure in any of these steps can lead to medication error. Now, it is important to note here that this does not refer to the lack of efficacy of the drugs. So it's not about the ineffectiveness of the drug, but rather to the human or process mediated failures. I'm so sorry. Is my screen visible? Yeah. Now let's see
Yes.
okay, yes, thank you. So why medication error is a concern? It's a concern because it has a major public health burden. As per a report, it has been estimated that 18.7 to 56% of all adverse events that occur among hospitalized patients results from medication errors. As per another report, especially in United States of America, the US FDA, that is the Health Authority of United States, receives over 100,000 reports of medication errors each year. That's a huge number of reports. Every year, there are around 7,000 to 9,000 Americans who die from medication errors. And approximately there are 530,000 injury incidents occur yearly in outpatient clinics due to medication errors. The second concern is the cost associated with the medication error. It's very huge because once the medication error occurs, we need to put some measures to rectify it as far as possible. The global cost associated with medication errors is estimated at 42 billion USD per year, which is almost 1% of total global health expenditure. Now, what is the impact of medication error? It has a great impact on the patients, the healthcare professionals, at times on the organizations and organizations. So the impact on the patient is that it can lead to increase in the length of stay in the hospital. Because of medication error, their stay in the hospital might get extended. It can lead to disability in the patients and also death, as we have seen in our previous example, how because of medication error, some of the babies lost their life. It can be emotionally devastating for both patients as well as healthcare professionals involved in it. Obviously, it leads to increased costs. It also damages reputation of the organizations involved. And it can also lead to penalizing administrative staff because of the errors they make. Now, let's see what are the most common types of medication errors. Now, I have classified these medication errors depending upon at what stage of drug treatment process it has occurred. Suppose it has occurred during the process of manufacturing the drug. Then we can find medication errors such as wrong strength manufactured or wrong drug or misleading manufacturing. Even the introduction of adulterants are medication errors. During prescribing phase, we can find medication errors such as irrational prescribing, inappropriate or ineffective prescribing. Even under or over prescribing are medication errors. During the monitoring phase, we can find examples such as failure to alter or optimize therapy when necessary, or wrong or erroneous alteration to therapy. While writing the prescription, we can find mistakes in the prescription because maybe wrong medication is prescribed, or even at times the spellings are wrong, which creates a lot of confusion. And at times the handwriting of the physician is not legible, and it creates confusion among the patients as well as the pharmacists. During dispensing, the pharmacist can dispense wrong drug or wrong formulation, or even they can mix up with the labels. And at the time of administering these drugs, there could be chances that wrong dose is administered by the physician or the nurses or even by the patients, or wrong route, the drug is administered through wrong route, or wrong frequency of administration, or even wrong duration of administration. As per a report, 50% of medication errors in the Europe occur during the prescribing or administration stage. And as per another study, it was found that most of the medication errors occur during the administration. So basically, prescribing and administration stage has a lot of scope of having medication errors. Now let's see what are the scenarios that can lead to medication error. So first is the most famous one, like look-alike or sound-alike drugs. You might have heard, many medications that they have almost similar packaging, and they also sound alike. For example, ampicillin and amoxicillin, as you can see on the screen. So ampicillin and amoxicillin, they are like sound alike drugs. And if you can see, the packaging is also very same. So there's a lot of there are a lot of chances that the pharmacist or even the patient might get confused. The another example also shows how similar the packaging is, and even the name is not that similar, but still the packaging is very similar. That can lead to confusion. Another scenarios are like unclear, ambiguous, and incomplete labeling. At times, we find very, not clear, not very elaborate labeling, which can lead to confusion among the patients in how to use the drug or how what dosage should be taken. Finally, we have illegible prescriptions. As I discussed before, that at times the handwriting of the physician is really difficult to understand.
Excuse me, Poonam.
Yes.
Can you please move your slides?
Yeah, actually, I'm moving. I think it's not visible.
Yeah, it is visible. Only second slide is visible from start.
Okay, I'm on different page altogether. Scenarios that can lead to ME. It's not visible. Is it visible now?
Yes, it's visible now.
Should I put it in this? I will not put it on full screen or slide mode. Is it okay?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I'm so sorry. Should I take back or it's okay?
No, you can continue.
Okay. So,
Okay.
yeah, thank you. Moving on to factors that influence medication errors. There are several factors, but I mentioned some of them. For example, healthcare professionals. Now, how healthcare professionals can influence medication error? At times, when the healthcare professionals are not well trained enough, or they are not efficient enough, or not much experienced, or maybe they are not able to communicate with their patients, then there are high chances that can lead to medication error. Even at times the professionals get overworked, and in those scenarios also it can lead to medication error. The patients, if we talk about patients, at times patients are illiterate, or they might not be able to communicate in proper languages with their physician, or they are not able to understand what their physicians is saying. There are also scenarios that patient is on multiple drugs, they are taking high risk medications, or maybe they have multiple ailments. In all these scenarios, there are high chances that there can be some medication error. The third factor is could be work environment. The environment in which the pharmacist or the doctors or the nurses work. If the environment is not conducive, it's not quiet, it's disturbing, it's chaotic, it can lead to medication errors. At times there are not enough of resources available, or even suppose in the storage area there is not sufficient lighting or ventilation, or even the temperature is not maintained, it can lead to medication error. Then the fourth factor could be medicines. If the naming, labeling, and packaging of the medicines are not done properly, that can also lead to medication error. The fifth factor could be tasks. Several times, the tasks carried out in the hospitals, in the pharmacy shops, are very repetitive. Once when we are into repetitive tasks, we generally, stop thinking logically and we just do it robotically. Then also it can lead to medication error. Finally, we have computerized information system. So nowadays most of the activities are done with the help of computers, but if the system is not that advanced, or if the input by mistake goes wrong in these systems, it can lead to a lot of confusion and errors. Now, this topic is about the pharmacovigilance monitoring activities that we carry out to track the medication errors. So the pharmacovigilance monitoring activity includes like recording, coding, reporting, and assessment of medication errors. Now, when a medication error happens, and suppose a physician, a healthcare professional, or a patient reports it to the respective healthcare authority, or even the pharmaceutical company, the call center pharmaceutical company, then then those companies or the healthcare authorities are supposed to database in the PV database, or record these cases in the PV database. There are several PV databases available such as ARISG, Argus, Viva. In these databases, we record these reports as cases. Now, when we are recording these reports as cases, we have to classify them suitably. So there are 4 classifications available. One is medication error with ADR, another is medication error without harm, third is intercepted error, and fourth is potential error. Now, in order to understand these classifications, let's go through and understand this image. So it says action 1, action 2. Now, action 1, action 2, action 3, all these are the different stages or different steps involved during the drug treatment process, like manufacturing, prescribing, administering, follow-up, monitoring, etc. Now, let's take an example and understand. Suppose a physician, they prescribe wrong dose of the drug. They prescribe higher dose of the drug, and the patient, and that higher dose gets dispensed to the patient, and patient takes the drug. Now, after taking the drug, if the patient has an adverse event, then, and if such kind of reports or such kind of incidents are reported to the call center, they will record it as medication error with ADR. Now, another scenario is, suppose the physician again prescribes wrong dosage to the patient, and the patient takes the drug, but the patient does not have any adverse event. Such kind of incidents will be, if reported, will be classified as medication error without harm. The third scenario is the events are reported the incident is reported. In this case, the physician has prescribed overdose, but before the product gets dispensed, the pharmacist was able to identify the error. He finds out that the dose is higher than what should be, and they connect with the physician and gets it corrected. Now the right dose of medication error gets dispensed to the patient. The patient takes the right dose of error. So the patient here does not suffer, but is not the victim of medication error. In such scenario, if such incidents are reported, it will be classified as intercepted error, because here the medication error got intercepted by somebody, and in this case it was pharmacist. The fourth scenario is where no medication error has occurred at all, but there are high chances that if things are not changed, then there could be potential error in the future. For example, pharmacist identifies that in their shop there are sound alike and look alike drugs like amoxicillin and ampicillin, and there are high chances, because of their similar packaging, that they dispense a wrong drug to the patient, or even there are chances that patients take the wrong drug. In such kind of scenarios, if such incidents are reported to the call center or pharmaceutical companies, then they will record it as potential error. These kind of reports need to be reported, because so that proper mitigation measures can be taken in the future by the pharmaceutical company to overcome such kind of potential errors. Now, once the cases are recorded, during recording, we have to code the medication errors. Now, while coding medication error, we have to use MEDRA, that is Medical Dictionary for Regulatory Activity. So when we code any medication error, it gets automatically arranged into 4 levels, that is PT, HLT, HLGT, and SOC. And while coding, we have to ensure that if it's a medication error, then HLGT should be medication errors, and SOC should finally fall under injury, poisoning, and procedural complications. For example, a drug administered by the wrong route is something that is reported. So that is the verbatim. So when we are coding, we have to find the most nearest term, that is preferred term, as wrong route of administration. Now, when we code this, it will automatically fall under HLGT of medication error and SOC of injury, poisoning, and procedural complications. Now, this is helpful when we are actually assessing these kind of cases in the pharmacovigilance department. We are able to pull out such kind of cases easily. After coding, the third step is reporting of medication errors. Now, once the medication error is received, some of those cases are reported to the healthcare authorities, regulatory health authorities. Now, only medication error with ADRs are reported to the health authorities. Rest all the cases are just documented in the database. But But when we are writing periodic safety reports like PBRR or PSUR, periodic safety update report, or periodic benefit risk evaluation report, or even risk management plans that we write at a specific interval, when we write those kind of reports, then we will include the analysis related to each and every classification of medication error. And then we report it to the healthcare authority. Till now, we have discussed the detection, the impact, the types of medication error, and how the medication errors are monitored. But it is equally important to, figure out or prevent the medication errors, because it is possible. Because the best part is that most of the medication errors are avoidable with right system, right tools, and awareness in place. And risk mitigation measures help us to design such kind of systems, such kind of tools, and it brings awareness in the patients and healthcare professionals involved. So in further few slides, I will be discussing on some of the risk minimization measures that are globally used. So some of the measures are like error prevention through naming, packaging, labeling. So when we are actually naming a product or labeling and packaging it, then we should take care of some of the points so that we don't make any mistake or don't create a sound alike or look alike drug, or that any drug that causes confusion. So while naming, we can avoid look alike and sound alike names that may lead to medication errors. We can use invented names or common names along with their trademarks so that it outshines and it's easily differentiable, ensuring that they don't cause any confusion. During labeling and packaging, we can consider visual differentiations. Like we can use a different font size, a bold warnings, a caution of high strength, or maybe effects like hatching or visual markers on the packaging. We can also use pictograms, diagrams, or photos for product use, especially in non-prescription medications. We can also use different colors to make it very easily identifiable, or it can help us in classifying and differentiating from other drugs. The other measures that we can put with patients in focus. We can design patient information leaflets. Now these are found inside the package of the drug. So what we can take care when designing a patient information leaflet is before bringing it to the patient in the market, we can use it on several patients, a group of patients, and which can help us to understand if those information leaflets are actually useful, readable, and understandable by the patients, or even if that makes sense, if it actually gives the information that's required by the patient. Another thing is that we can use, if the patients are visually impaired, we can use large print and braille versions. There are several online resources available for to provide information or educate patients regarding the drug. For example, there are increasing use of the internet for patient training and education. For example, implant insertion training. We can get to the internet and learn and get educated. There are several pharmaceutical companies that host instructional videos and materials on websites to support the proper use of the drug or even the devices. There are several regulatory bodies such as MHRA, EMA, who may issue warnings or usage guidance at their websites for different drugs, especially high-risk drugs. We can find all these information at the websites. Now, what precautions can be taken by healthcare professionals? So if they are prescribers should ensure that the treatment is appropriate. They should double check the information that they are writing on the prescription. They should be able to guide the patients and caregivers on correct preparation and administration of the drug. From pharmacists, we expect that they should be able to verify the treatment appropriateness and educate patients on its safe use, safe dose, administration, food interactions and devices, etc. They should be able to provide clear instructions at point of dispensing. And they should also be able to address patient queries and correct any misunderstandings with the patient. Now, as we discussed, as per most of the report, it was found that most of the medication errors occur during the administration phase. So there are 6 rights of safe medication administration that has been devised. So during administration of any drug, we should be mindful and take care of all these 6 rights before administering a drug. So the first is right patient. We have to ensure that the patient is right and uh, the right patient has been chosen for administering the drug. The right drug is being administered. The right dosage is being administered. The right route is being administered. And then right frequency or at right time the medication is getting administered. And finally, last but not the least, it's the right documentation. If the dose or administration has not been recorded, it means it is not given. So after medications are given, it needs to be documented properly. So right documentation is also very necessary. The next measure is use of computerized systems. It prevents scenarios such as illegible prescriptions written by the physicians. Most of the hospitals and physicians use computers, which is a blessing nowadays and prevents a lot of confusion. Then finally, the most important one is medication reporting, medication error reporting. It is advisable to all the healthcare professionals and patients whoever take the drug and come in contact or experiences any medication error, then they should report it to their respective regulatory health authorities or the pharmaceutical companies call center, wherever there are several informations given at the back of the medications where they can report such kind of errors or even adverse events. This kind of reporting helps to make the regulatory authority as well as pharmaceutical companies aware of the scenarios and situations that can occur or that's happening in the real world. And they help them to prepare for the different measures and different precautions so that these medication errors do not get repeated. Now, this is the final slide, and it talks about some of the recommendations given by the World Health Organization to avoid medication errors and to protect patients from medication harm. They have specially focused on the 3 areas. They are high-risk situations, then polypharmacy and transition of care. So in high-risk situations, it's related to the high-risk medications used. So when high-risk medications are given to the patients, it needs special attention. In this scenario, tools and education, tools and trainings, these kind of things helps the patients as well as healthcare professionals to understand the drug and manage them properly. So it is recommended by WHO that when high-risk drugs are being used, then a proper training and tools should be provided to the healthcare professional as well as the patients. Now, the second priority is given to polypharmacy. When this is the scenario when the patients are taking multiple drugs. Now, when they are taking multiple drugs, there are higher chances of medication errors to occur. In order to prevent that, it is recommended by WHO to to create standardized prescriptions, to review regularly those kind of medications, and also educate the patients as well as healthcare professionals to prevent any medication errors from happening. The final point is transition of care. Now, when patients are shifted or there is a transition of care from primary care to secondary care, in such kind of transitions,
Hello,
there are high chance. Sorry.
I have joined. Can you see me? I've joined now.
Okay. I will check. Thank you. Okay, so during transition, we should be aware, we should be careful that there are chances of any communication errors happening. In order to prevent those communication errors, we should ensure that whenever there is any transition of primary or second from primary care to secondary or secondary to tertiary, in those scenarios, we should ensure medical medicine reconciliation as well as we should ensure that there is no there is no communication gap between those 2 cares. So this can also help to prevent medication error. So in short, right focus, right systems, and right communication can save lives. Thank you so much.